Having brought that concept back around of, well, looks like the ship's in for repairs, or there's a mighty storm a raging, and conveniently it's completely around the island, not over the island itself. So you have perfect weather, but you can't leave. Wink, wink. So what I have open, Fox, is I have all 4 of the characters, which include McCool, since Trust of Flump relented and said, you know what, I will play McCool, and so we have accepted McCool into the ranks. Of course, you never know. Woo Woo could still be hiding somewhere on the ship. And English Rose's Rayorn reworked. Now that said, I did not change any of the... I don't know if any of the scores changed. It might have just been some of the spells, like what we were exploring. So here you are. You're at your desk, and you have all the papers out, right? You have the 4 character sheets. You have your source books. You have your party layout. You have your party comparison. You have your villain sheets. You have your there we go, NPC sheets. You have your just list of thoughts, and you also have your settlements, the settlements that are taking place in a world. And we can touch on all of these. We can expand them. We can reference them. If we need to change something, we can go back and change it. If we got to take a step back, that's understandable, but I want to make sure we're always taking 2-3 steps forward, even in spite of that. So all of this stuff it's on your desk, and right when you get to it, you're like, this is when something's going to happen. Someone's going to walk up to my door. They're going to knock. At least they're polite. And someone's going to ask for something. And so you wait. You sip a cold beverage. What's your beverage of choice, Fox?
Peach juice.
Peach?
It's peach juice.
Oh, cool. Did I know you could just buy straight up peach juice? I don't know if I did. I can't say I've ever looked for it, but...
No, it's good.
Well then... now, by the way, everyone out there, you saw a tried and true technique for bribing your dungeon master. This is how you acquire the mythical level 10 spell. Because when you do knock on your DM's door, and you see that she is clearly in the midst of very important work, you produce a peach juice for her, and you set it down, and you say, "Hi." And that's a good way to start a conversation, especially if you're going to ask for a favor. Now, if it's not in liquid form, let's say that your players were getting ready, they're pulling up their chairs at the table, and one of them said, "Oh, you know what? Thank you for all the hard work you do, Fox. It just so happens that I have a favorite food of yours. Be it something like a candy bar, a chip variety, a pizza, whatever your favorite Thai order or something. How can we bribe you with food?"
With what?
With food. If I'm your player and I want to butter up, what am I putting on the table?
I see. Fresh brownies would be nice. Popcorn's always good. Milk would go with the brownies. Peach juice would go with the popcorn. Maybe some ice cream. What else? And then maybe I'll listen.
Maybe what?
Maybe I'll listen.
Uh-oh, I think we're getting robot voiced again.
Oh no.
Because I was only getting a little bit of that. Let me see if I can work some magic here.
Okay. The group is to connect to a server rather than a private call.
Yes, that is what I am All right. What I am going to do is I'm going to assign you a super secret role.
Okay.
And we'll disconnect from here, and you should see that there is a voice channel that should be opened up to you now, and we'll try connecting through that voice channel, and maybe we can do that instead of a direct call through Discord.
All right, I see it now. Let us. Yes. Hi.
Shh. Secrets. I think. All right. La la la. 1 2 3. A B C. D E
You're not
F N
Ravati
G.
at all.
What's that?
You're not Ravati at all anymore.
Good. My human skills are prevailing.
Yes. Human skills.
Human. Yeah, so we are now connected through a very super-de-duper secret chat room that exists only in our imaginations.
Yeah. You only wish you had this much imagination. It's a box. It's a card.
Dude, cardboard boxes are legit. Like they could be spaceships. They could be.
They are legit. When my cousin had a fridge cardboard box once, we camped out in that thing.
Oh yeah.
We slept in it overnight.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
So-
now that we are reconnected here, so all of our stuff is here, and you were saying brownies, and of course milk for brownies. You said popcorn, peach juice,
Right.
and what was the last thing?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Moose Tracks?
Moose tracks?
Moose Tracks ice cream? Or is that a regional
not.
thing here? Have you heard of Moose Tracks ice cream?
I have not.
Fox. Oh my goodness. Then I'm bribing you with some Moose Tracks ice cream.
Okay.
Evie has.
I've heard of Breyer ice cream or Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, it's not a brand. It's a flavor or a mix of flavors. Black Wolf, how dare you?
I've heard of it.
All right. Well then, so it is clear that we can butter you up a little bit and get into your good graces if, one of us accidentally baked a batch of brownies before the D&D game and we brought them to share with everyone, but maybe it was cut in a way that there was a really good big brownie and you got first dibs on it, because of course you're the DM.
It would have to be the corner piece.
Corner piece. All right. So a little bit of that crispy edge to offset the rest of the kind of gooey.
Yeah. It's nice to have that little chewy bit. I don't like having it all be like gooey.
Oh, that's true. It's kind of like you can actually pinch it and hold it, and you can. It's like a pizza slice. All right. Well then. Hey,
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could say it anyway, but this is all D&D, my friends. When you break bread with friends, it's all a part of the storytelling. Because how many stories have been told over a campfire? Have been told. You're spending the night in a refrigerator box, and maybe there's monsters outside the box. You don't know.
Maybe.
And so food and drink and I haven't been eating as much on stream as I normally do. I try and take care of that between breaks. I do have my handy dandy pitcher here, and when we do play D&D, it's always nice to have dinner and just sort of break bread with your friends.
Yeah, I need a pitcher like that, honestly. It's just, I just need one. I drink an insane amount. Like, I could drink a gallon of water in a sitting.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So, I need a big old thing.
Now, what I want to get to, since we're warmed up, we're thinking of food, we're thinking of all the notes. You have a pile of notes, and as much as I built up, is there going to be someone walking in through the door saying, "My character"? No one has done that. It seems that all 4 of your players have made peace with their characters and are content now to let you kind of nestle in behind your desk and put your paws to work in just considering what you want to present. You have the base, you have the broad setting, we've genned up some aspects of it.
Yep.
But now what I would like to do is talk about the broad story. So this is going to be more of a campaign synopsis.
Ooh, how fun.
And this is...
That is fun, right?
No, this is D&D. This is not fun. This is excruciating work that has little to no payoff, but we do it because it's socially... of all the ironic things, D&D is like a socially accepted and expected thing. I am the big pitcher guy. Yes, indeed. So we have front and center. This is our living document. We've been adding thises and that's to it here, and we can refer back up to this in the other documents. We have now prompts to think about. We have landmarks. We have concepts. We have peoples and places and things. Maybe even some abstract ideas. If you can summarize the goal of the campaign in a couple sentences, it could be one. What would it be? What do you hope to present over the course of X amount of time that it takes to get through the story you want to run in this world? What's the themes? It could be something simple, throw the one ring into Mount Doom to defeat the bad guy. It could be something greater.
The central theme, huh? Gee, I don't know.
Well, let's take a look at the ideas you wrote down when you were having your epiphanies.
Mm-hmm.
There's this concept that there's wondrous things and horrible things that you wanted to run. In the course of generating content, there's also some undercurrents of war that are brewing.
Right.
We have you have a part of the adventure to take place beneath the waves. Mm-hmm. And when you were going over your world, you had indicated that the Underdeep, or if not even the Underdeep itself, but the world that you have developed has a unique origin to it.
Yep.
And that could be the big reveal.
Could.
If you wished for it to be. We could have, if you don't want it to be maybe something that broad, it could be more specific to the party of everyone starts with, a couple rowboats taped together, and then we end up with a big, mighty fleet.
I mean, if I really wanted to rip off of One Piece, I would be like, oh, there's this big evil world government that controls the world and such. Or is trying to. And such.
So ultimately it's to take down kind of an Illuminati style thing?
Possibly. It could also be just like, really, I feel like the central theme of the campaign is decided by the player goal, if that makes sense.
Oh,
if they don't.
Okay, so you want to run the world, but you want to let the players just kind of find their way through it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a viable campaign strategy as well. In fact, what you brought up with that is it's perhaps not a standard. It's not a standard style, and I don't say that in any sort of demeaning way. What I would recommend, though, is if you're going to have the world be a sandbox, well, if everyone's on board by saying, look, let's just show up and play together. Maybe there's not, super huge arcs of villainy and redemption and such. And if everyone hops aboard on that and they just say, hey, we're going to show up this week and find out what happens, or you have mini arcs that take place, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you communicate that ahead of time, because you could run into an event where, some players might want a more directed focus or a goal to either sail towards, or you should have a mechanism in place that can urge them onwards, so that it doesn't turn into I don't know, maybe one dominant personality that has taken over decision making, and everyone just says, well, I want to play D&D. I may not like this, but I don't really know what we're doing, but I guess the one person's having fun and I'm not enjoying it.
Gotcha. What's a more standard approach to D&D then? Like, what are the different approaches? Because I only know really what I've experienced.
Well, an approach would be just that. You have something to approach. You have an ultimate goal to achieve. That is foil an assassination attempt. It is start or stop a war. It's, I don't know, prevent the wizard from crashing a meteor into the world. It could even just be, if it's more focused, expose the corrupt mayor who's making bad decisions for the local farmers. All of these are still a direction, a goal. You may not get to it immediately, but they're going to ultimately be the guiding light for your players to pursue.
Wait, what do you mean you think plot tropes are a bad idea, I don't understand.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Fi. Yes, Ivalon, you have been called out by Fox.
Yeah, you have. Get called out. I'm not afraid. Look at the theme of exploration. Figure out how to play your adventure. Yeah, that's a good idea. So Avalon suggests that we focus on the inciting incident.
Okay.
Which is pretty important. It's the why of their going out on the adventure rather than the what's the end.
Then let's post that. Why are we adventuring? Why have we signed up to all be aboard a ship, possibly to lose our lives at sea?
Yep. We'll have to figure that out for them, since they don't have, like, an idea of it, apparently.
That's true.
Because their character sheets didn't really mention an explicit why.
That is true.
But if we look at the themes in their backstory...
There we go.
A lot of them... Yeah, that's a lot of good advice in the chat. So... if we,
I have all the PDFs open to explore backstories, too.
I think Rayorn is looking for a new start, was it? Was he looking for a better life? A home, perhaps?
Well, he left the military behind after a very traumatic incident that retired him from active military duty, but it doesn't mean that he's not functional in other things. And so Rayorn could have very well signed up to sail to use his skills, but maybe be more independent, or to not be as regimental about things.
Maybe.
Or because, remember, Rayorn is middle-aged. Rayorn might see this as an opportunity to help teach the next generation survival and help them get through tough times, so that perhaps none of them have to go through what he's gone through as well.
Possibly. But that's really a character interview question. Maybe I should have added an additional role that each of them needed to have like an ambition, which is like a long-term goal, and then a desire. Short goal. That's something that Vampire does. That's actually really useful for the DM to figure out longer standing plots.
So we're going to make a note to ourselves here. I mean, I'm acting as just a little whispering angel or devil on your shoulder as you're furiously working at your desk to try and plot out this D&D campagna.
Campagna.
Ask the players about their characters' overarching goals. And having a realization like this, even after you've come so far, and in the end, this does really matter. To say, you know what? They submitted their sheets. It's not like they're not reachable. I mean, they know where your office is. You presumably, know where they sleep. You have a list of their fears and their daily schedules. So,
their fears, their greatest desires, their daily schedules, what isolated routes they take home,
exactly,
what they're allergic to, how it can't be traced. What?
And communication is key in a storytelling game. So after doing this and realizing you're like, yes, I have all the notes, I have all the things,
I realized I need more. There's never enough.
There never will be. So there's a point where you say, all right, I think I have enough to work on. But as you're sitting down and everything is out and, and you're looking, you say, why? Well, I went through the steps. They filled out character sheets, and I made a setting, and I made a villain. Hey, look at this little villain. I even doodled him and cut him out on paper.
Yeah.
Why are they adventuring? What would they hope to discuss?
Or accomplish, or do.
And... go ahead.
Because I feel like a party's got to have a motivation behind them.
Yes.
In Fluffy's game, the motivation, I guess, behind the party is mostly my character's motivation is the long-term one. And Fluffy runs a sandbox. She wants to get immortality, essentially. And she's gonna go on a long quest for it. And that's kind of the driving, hey, we need to go here, hey, we need to go there. But she gets distracted very easily, so it's like, that can wait a couple more things, and that can wait probably. And we just got out of the Feywild in our session today, and we discovered that it's been 2 years since we left.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said Fluffy is running a sandbox world, but he's allowing the players to drive events forward.
More or less, he has events in he has events in the world that are going on that'll happen with or without us. But essentially, he's an interesting time with us because we're a little bit of a weird party. We don't do what he expects, and thus we end up in some strange situations.
And I think in this case, Fluffy Sheep can adapt because he seems to be comfortable with the world that he's presenting to you. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Is he baffled, but he can still make concrete decisions?
Yeah. He it takes him a little bit, but he swings back.
He's like, back.
Yeah, he's like, I wasn't really expecting this, but here we go.
Very good. Then what this is calling for, I believe, is you are going to need to sit down, and I would encourage this anyway, but to have a session 0 with your players and their characters, and to put them through a little bit of mutual storytelling. Now, for purposes of this workshop, I don't have all 4 of the players here to sort of enact, although that could be cool. I don't know, I'll have to ask them if there's a time that all are available, and we can go through a mock session 0. That would be very interesting.
It would be.
But you, in this sort of role play that we're doing, which is still meant to be a lesson, but in our role play, we've come to the realization that despite having stuff, we don't have a direction. We have all the sand we could hope for, but we don't have the box, or we have the box rather, but we need the sand in order to build castles and roads and all this other stuff.
Right. So it's like when you think you're ready and you're not really ready. Like
butter knives. You had an awesome session 0. That is great because it can. Well, session 0 it does butter knives or butter knives. Does allow for sort of meta talking, meta gaming. Okay, so this is generally the direction of my character. I don't think you want to reveal all the cards that you're holding in your character's hand. Though, especially in a case like this with Fox, we have 4 level 6 characters who have been presumably sailing on a ship for some time, and they're going to know each other to an extent. Maybe the story picks up when the 4 of them have been randomly selected for sort of like away party duty, and the shifts rotate. Maybe, I don't know, every month names are drawn out of a hat or something to form a team. That way people can form bonds with each other and maybe become more connected. And
I actually had an idea. But...
Oh, all right. What's your idea? We have plenty of electrons to throw on the screen.
Well, it's kind of an unconventional way to do things. It's like session 0, but not session 0.
Okay.
What if you started 1 week with 1 player, and then you added a new player in, like, every week to the game, or every arc, things like that.
Then that would be something to bring up with the group.
Right.
If you all say, you know what, Wednesday evenings are that's our time.
Right.
Who wants to go first? And we're gonna have a 1-on-1, and then it'll be a 2-on-1, 3-on-1, and then we're gonna introduce things and build up from there. And you can even arrange that with the seniority. Let's say that we have old man Rayorn here. Maybe he's the old salt of the group. I mean, he might not be an officer on the ship, but maybe he's just been there the longest. So you have your first session with Rayorn, with English Rose piloting Rayorn, and you have this interaction. You make notes because Rayorn is going to do things or ask questions that are going to carry forward. They're going to become a ship tradition, whether it's something that character instituted, or you say that's a good idea and I'm going to carry that forward. And then then the crewmate, the second one, Macho.
FTD egg.
Macho. McCool?
McCool, I'm sorry, McCool, yeah. Azrael, hey, thank you very much for the continued subscription. And you are 1 month away from having from going from a nice spicy yellow to a spicier orange.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, chat, let me know what you think of the ideas so far. But, yeah, I was thinking having the players decide the long-term goal would probably be better. If they want to aspire to something, like maybe there's like a, I don't know, treasure that lays at the depths of the bottom of the sea or something that they want to go find. I can make that a thing, and I can organize the world around it, things like that. But just as an example, like I'm strongly of the opinion that, you know, character goals should drive the plot forward, or at
Okay.
least the overarching plot. There will be like microplots that happen, and maybe unrelated, but it's like the thing in the distance that they're heading for.
Well, I think that they may be unrelated, but you have a ton of content on the 4 characters that were submitted to you that you can drop in like little hooks that will individually spotlight a character, or because we went through and we were making those connections between them. Here, I'll bring up our party layout here. McCool has a personality trait that he has lost too many friends. And Rayorn is also haunted by the memories of war. Well, war could be an underlying theme that's brewing here, but what if they go to, what if they go to like a war memorial together and there's an incident? And so these 2 characters are going to be spotlighted because they are going to have a more personal interaction. Delabean, or I'm sorry, Dabblestabble, as Pete wished to be known by his last name.
Dabblestabble, yes, the better name.
Dabblestabble, well, he's going with Oath of Ancient, so he's not an anti-undead paladin. But what if there's a military graveyard that's being ruined by looters or by necromancers or something, just raising everything left and right. Yeah. Rayorn and McCool are gonna approach this a little bit differently than Delibean will, and so that's a chance to highlight their connection, and even to say, you know what, maybe they recognize one of the corpses shambling around, or they recognize names on a memorial wall or a tombstone.
Right. Like, this is all... You can definitely highlight them in plots unrelated to overarching plots, if that makes sense.
Yep. Someone saved my life on the battlefield for Rayorn. What if this person shows up later and ends up being a friend, but then is actually a double agent, and then is actually playing a triple agent if you really wanted to? It doesn't have to get that deep. But there's an NPC out there that could be alive or dead, or dead but came back and shouldn't be alive but is, and confuses Rayorn. So you have all kinds of little micro arcs, things that you can include here, because now these are, we talked about these being strings to pluck. As the DM, you can be reactive, though you are the world, you are everything else besides that character. And if you don't want to run a more traditional campaign with a very obvious goal like the carrot hanging in front of the party, then you might put some wind in their sails to help guide them in certain directions, or if it feels like something might be I don't know, the party's just been having a tough time making a decision, then maybe you read through their characters, you read through the exercises we've gone through here, and there's a message in a bottle, and it's from a castaway somewhere. All right, so this is something we can do. Well, we generally want to help people. Helping is kind of an advancement in the world. You build reputation, which, by the way, collecting money and items is one thing to manage in a campaign. What you might want to consider instituting as well is a reputation system, or in the DMG, Fox, I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it, there's an honor system.
What'd it do?
I'll bring up honor in 1 second.
Right.
You can also draw on some things that we haven't pointed out here yet, because remember, we had some exercises not taking the prompts we generated literally but metaphorically.
Right.
Take a look at Marcellarian. All right. Half elf, so Fey heritage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I sleep with my back to a wall or tree with everything I own wrapped up in my arms. And So if he has this tendency to sleep with his back against trees or wood, what is your world made of?
I mean, the ship's made of wood.
The ship is. And that wood came from the world. The world
yes,
is...
a tree.
What if...
Many trees.
What if, as this poor urchin growing up, you know, you have someone who has this sort of Fey heritage and always apparently takes comfort sleeping against trees. There's absolutely nothing mechanical on his sheet that says this otherwise. But what if you could, you know, what if that comfort was because the world spoke to Marcellarian? Whispered things.
That's an option.
And you could empower Marcellarian to have some decision-making power, right? Because when he dreams while with his back against a tree or even against wood, maybe the ship that they sail could be unique in that it's living wood. It's not harvested. You know, there's really no metal per se. It's been grown, and so it's just sort of like a, you know, like a big old coconut kind of. It doesn't have to be coconut, but you know, coconut's a live seed. You know, the tree can still grow out of it, and yet it's sort of bobbing around. So you can take all of this and find ways to whisper to your players to nudge them in a direction or to provide a...
They're sailing around in the seed of a world tree.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, they have the next gen, and everyone kind of looks at this like, this is kind of this, like, you know, kind of dumpy looking coconut, you know, lump of driftwood, and yet it's actually it is the great Deku tree.
Yeah, seed of the world tree. They're sailing around in a seed.
And what if ultimately this seed is looking for a place to, you know, to nestle into and sprout? And that could be an end goal as well. You know, is there an open island? Oh, go ahead.
The seed could be like an NPC on its own, having its own sort of more mystical personality, probably.
So the ship can take them in a direction.
Mm-hmm.
Or be a little cantankerous, be the spirit in the machine.
Yeah,
so to speak.
much.
And all of this is coming from just looking over the notes and realizing, you know what, there's still so much that we can plan for. But now that we have all of our data, now let's compile it into information. All right, so we know that I think we're gonna have to have a powwow with the characters, and whether it's a session 0 or a pre-session 0, it'll be what it is. But we know that while we don't know why they sail, we need to ask them that question. Why? Why have you joined up with this crew? What's happening here?
Yeah, why are you in this crew? What are you looking for? What is, like, long-term and short-term goals?
Overarching goals, long-term and short-term. Now, you can take immense joy in running for others, but is there something at some point in time that you would love them to run into?
Probably my showman and villain, honestly.
Okay.
I'm a character person. I'll make characters, like, usually villains, not NPCs, but villains that they'll be made to run into. And I'll take great joy in playing those villains, or even, like, party members, you know? NP party members. You've seen those.
Oh, DMPCs?
Yeah, those.
So let's use your villain here as a bit of a fixed point. Whether or not it shows up early, middle, or late, we can always adjust encounters. What do you want this villain to do? Is he purely an antagonist meant to tease or foil attempts at getting treasure? Is he a rival in another ship? And he always seems to be, just 2 steps ahead, kind of a thing.
He's. I guess the best way to describe what he would be is a nuisance. Constant pursuer, someone who, like, hounds them, but also wants them to succeed in a way.
Oh, so this could be your force to push them forward.
Right. He could possibly team up with them if the situation called for it.
Okay.
He's one of those weird villains that you sometimes team up with. You know how Batman and Joker occasionally team up. You know, usually they're at each other's throats, but sometimes.
Do you see this ending in a particular way? With the villain being redeemable, the villain actually burning out on his own or being defeated by the PCs?
I don't really
is there
see him ending in a particular way. That will really depend on the players, because any of those are plausible.
What does your villain want from the world?
A show.
Okay, so he's just in it to see what happens. He stirs the pot.
Yeah, he's an instigator. He's a rock the boat kind of person. He's that kind of villain, you know what I mean? The troublemaker.
Over the course of the campaign, could it be found out that if he's not the one who's like whispering and fomenting war or civil war, that he is an arms dealer to both sides, or he's stirring these pots as well?
It's possible. He would definitely, like, instigate war, or, tension between, like, 2 different powers. Like, yeah, these guys said you suck. Now here's my forged proof of it. And on the other side, he'll be like, "Oh, I am your friendly advisor. I shall help you defeat these other people." Like, he would be on both sides, whispering into their ears to create a big show of death and carnage and things like that.
Okay, and so being hounded or pecked at by this villain, I mean, whatever he ends up being, we're going to use villain just to label him with something that's convenient. It seems like that this is going to be a big reveal over the course of them playing. They're going to put 2 and 2 together eventually, and when they find that, swords with his stamp are showing up on both sides of the conflict, or when they arrive in port and they learn that, oh yeah, there was a ship flying the red checker flag, or whatever. I'm making stuff up. The red checker flag ship. Yeah, they just left about a week ago, and that's when we find out that a week ago is when all our troubles began here on the island.
Yeah, he's definitely that sort of person. He creates messes, leaves them behind, and then enjoys the show from afar.
Excellent.
And
is this a villain that if your players were committed to actually end him, that you would let him go, or is he going to be the I'll always escape kind of a thing?
I don't know. I'm terribly fond of him, but I'm also terribly fond of player choice. So I'm not sure. I'll try to have an out for him where I can, but if they're like dead set on murdering him, then probably have to let him go.
Chasing down a trickster is going to be complex in itself, especially if this person has so many resources, or the political clout, or whatever, whoever he is, with the resources he has, that he's just he's treating the world like a bauble.
Yeah.
And is just enjoying everything that happens.
I actually have somewhere, because I've actually drawn him several times.
Oh, well then.
Yeah, Let me see if I can send it to you. Yeah. But yeah, this is a villain that I kind of fell in love with, and who I'd actually play as a PC in a game if I had the opportunity.
Oh, so yeah, you are invested in this character.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Then with that level of understanding and investment, sort of like what we were talking about with Fluffy Sheep, or just even when we were going through the exercises of building a setting or our characters, your understanding of basic premises will empower you to make a lot of decisions on the fly. Because you're in the character's head. You know what he'll say or how he'll react in various circumstances.
Yes, indeed. He was actually... I'm seeing a lot of, like, he's inspired by these people.
Well, every character is inspired by something else. But how you present that character makes it your own.
This character in particular was inspired by Jirahim from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, if you've ever seen him. I don't know if you have, but... And I also sent you the picture of him.
Let's... There you go, everyone. Oh,
that's what he looks like.
Girahim is the character.
Is the inspiration, yeah, but that's not his name.
Well, oh yeah. I'm sorry. That's the. He's sort of like he's a demon, but he's not. He's a servant or something along those lines.
He's kind of a. Yeah, he's a sword. But he's complicated, but he looks cool and he's fabulous. So I was like,
Evie's echoing that sentiment.
Yeah, he's fabulous.
Then why don't we do this? Sitting down, we've realized that in a macro setting, the campaign, you're comfortable presenting it as a very wet sandbox because it's sailing.
Yes.
So it's it's a pool, and you want you want everyone to splash around and have fun and swim in the pool. But there's other questions that are going to be broad, things that you're going to have to explore and draw information from the notes that you have. But ultimately, you're fine if the party is making a lot of little decisions to ultimately end up wherever they're going to end up, since you are the creator of the world and you're familiar with it. Why don't we take a look then, instead of discussing the overarching plot of the campaign, why don't we sit down and we'll make an adventure?
Okay. Like an island arc?
Yeah, it'll be an island arc. It could be a milestone, if you want to use milestones. I prefer them. Some people like EXP.
Yeah. I'd probably milestone it, like, after they level up or something. It's a good way to pace it, because once you finish an island arc, you move on to the next island, and you're good.
I would tend to agree with you. I don't like the micromanagement of EXP, but that is my own personal... if any of you want to run EXP, that's fine. You do you, boo-boo.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. I've had it both ways.
So let's...
But yes, thank you, Evie. I appreciate compliment. I do art occasionally.
MacGruber's going 100% milestones.
I actually have some art in Maddie's channel and the Your Creations thing. I don't know.
That is true.
Where exactly, but...
All right, let's do this.
Yes.
We've been talking for about an hour or so, Fox. Why don't we take like a 5-minute break, and when we come back, let's take this villain, because look, this villain seems like he has fingers in every pie in this world here.
Yeah.
And let's create, instead of a broad, overarching campaign idea, let's start small and let's plan one adventure, one
Sure.
milestone, so
That
to
sounds
speak.
fun.
And
I
all
know
right, so
what we're gonna do it on. Whee!
whee! Then, all right, everyone, let's take a 5-minute break, use the restroom, grab a snack or a drink or something. When we come back, we're going to, we won't just discuss things, broadly, but we're going to try and focus our attentions into crafting an outline. You know, we're not committing 100% of everything. We're not making a published module, or we're not making a Curse of Strahd, but we're certainly going to set the scene and place some actors, some events that are going to be occurring or explore, or themes that are explored, and keep these then as a note in front of us that whenever it's appropriate for them to reach this place, through their own means or by story or villainous actions, that this is going to be a milestone adventure that they're going to run through. So, all right, 5 minutes, everyone. 5 minutes.
All right, bye.